الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
الحمد لله الذي أرسل رسوله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله وكفى بالله شهيدا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد, as to what precedes, my dearest respectful brothers in Islam, today's khutbah is going to be about the importance of seeking knowledge. أهمية طلب العلم. The importance of seeking knowledge is not hidden from anybody. Neither the scholar, the alim, nor the jahil, the ignorant one, nor the sane, nor the foolish one. And therefore, everyone rejoices if he is described with having some knowledge, even if it is little. And everyone despairs and gets angry if he is described as ignorant, as a jahil, even if he is one of the most ignorant people, ajhalun nas. So the question that we need to ask ourselves is that alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with being Muslims. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with accepting the truth. But how much knowledge do we have about Allah and Allah's Messenger and Allah's Deen? So take these 24 hours a day. We have 24 hours. In these 24 hours, how much time do we spend daily to learn about the Deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Recently, in the month of Ramadan, I visited our Shaykh, the Mufti of the Haram, Al-Makki, Wasiullah Abbas. And we had a discussion about the da'wah in the West. And the Shaykh said that if a Muslim who is extremely busy during the day was to devote 1 hour daily to learn about his deen, that would mean that he would be devoting 7 hours a week. And that would mean that he is devoting 28 hours a month to learn about the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if a person was to reflect upon himself that how much time does he waste in a month, and he said, I can guarantee you that it will exceed more than 28 hours a day, or 28 hours a day. So the question that we need to ask ourselves is that what have we done to learn about the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? The problems that we face, the confusions that we have, the misconceptions that we have, the doubts that we have, all come down to one point, and that is not having knowledge. So that was the first issue that I wanted to discuss with you, brothers, is the importance of seeking knowledge. Think about it. Think how much time you have given to the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We give time to everything. We give time to our work. We give time to our families. We give time to our interests and hobbies. But how much time do we give for the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How much time do we give to learn this deen, which will be an investment for the akhirah? They say, the people of knowledge, they say that in order to be convinced to do something, you speak about its virtue and its merits. So the second issue which I want to discuss with you, brothers, is the fadail, or the fadail of talab al-ilm, the virtues of seeking knowledge. What are the virtues of seeking knowledge? And when I say knowledge, I mean knowledge of Allah and Allah's Messenger and Allah's deen. It is enough as a honor and virtue for the people who have knowledge that Allah mentioned their testimony, their witnessing with His testimony, shahada, concerning His tawheed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Imran, ayah number 18, شهد الله أنه لا إله إلا هو والملائكة وأولو العلم قائما بالقسط لا إله إلا هو العزيز الحكيم. Allah bears witness that there is no true deity worthy of worship but Him, as do the angels and those who have knowledge. He upholds justice, and He is the Almighty, the All-Wise. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran bear witness to His oneness. And witnessing is done for something that is great, not for an issue that is petty. And after mentioning His witnessing, that only He deserves to be worshipped alone without any partner or associate, He mentioned the angels, and then He mentioned those who have knowledge. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu said that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said that man salaka tariqan yaltamisu fihi ilman sahhalallahu lahu bihi tariqan ila al-jannah. That Allah makes the way to Jannah easy for him who treads the path in search of knowledge. So one of the ways of obtaining salvation and to entering into Jannah is to seek knowledge. Knowledge is a means to enter into Jannah. Seeking knowledge will make the path of Jannah easy, as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. Muawiyah radiallahu anhu narrates that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Man yuridillahu bihi khayran yufaqihu fi ad-din." That for whomsoever Allah wishes good, He gives him the true understanding of the deen. Tafaqquh here is not referring to the fiqh that we know. Tafaqquh here is referring to the fiqh of the kitab and the sunnah of Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So if Allah wishes good for you, then He's going to give you the true understanding of the deen. And this true understanding of the deen is dependent upon you seeking that knowledge. seeking the knowledge of the Quran, seeking the knowledge of the Sunnah of Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this issue that we have, which is the third issue, is we hear this word al-ilm, knowledge, knowledge. Do you have knowledge? Does he have knowledge? So-and-so has knowledge. So-and-so does not have knowledge. But the question that we need to ask is, what is knowledge? Mal-ilm. What is this word that we keep hearing? Knowledge, knowledge, knowledge. Al-ilm, al-ilm, al-ilm. And Al-Imam Ibn Al-Qayyim, rahimahullah ta'ala, in his famous qasida known as Nuniyya, he defines knowledge for us. What is knowledge? He says, Al-ilmu qala Allahu qala Rasuluhu qala as-sahabatu hum ulul irfani mal ilmu nasbuka lil khilafi safahatan bayna an-nususi wa bayna ra'yi safih. He says that knowledge is what Allah said, Allah's messenger said, and the Sahaba ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in said. They are the true people of knowledge. Knowledge is not you raising up a difference of opinion foolishly between the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam and the opinions and the opinion of another foolishly. So true knowledge is what Allah says, Allah's Messenger says, and what the Sahaba ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in said. Knowledge is not a difference of opinion. This is why we find that whenever somebody speaks about an issue, they will say, oh well, there's a difference of opinion. Oh, there's a difference in every single mas'ala, there's a difference of opinion. Then what was the purpose of Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam coming to us and conveying this deen and saying that the night is clear as its day? So true knowledge is what knowledge, that which is based upon the kitab and the sunnah of Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Only this is defined as knowledge. Ara'ur rijal, the opinions of the people, is not considered to be true knowledge. Knowledge is only that which Allah said, Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam said. The next issue which we want to discuss is the issue of how does one seek knowledge? How to seek knowledge? One of the most important tools for seeking knowledge is to learn the Arabic language. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran, in Surah Al-Zukhruf, ayah number 3, He says, إِنَّا جَعَلْنَاهُ قُرْآنًا عَرَبِيًّا لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ. Indeed, we have made it in Arabic that you may be able to understand. This Quran was revealed in the Arabic language. As we know that in the world, there are more non-Arabs than Arabs. The percentage of Arabs in comparison to the non-Arabs is very less. And the Quran was revealed in the Arabic language. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created all the languages. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that those who will follow His deen, many of them will be non-Arabs. In fact, we find that the great scholars of the Arabic language, like Sibawayh and At-Tabari and others, they were not even Arabs. So it's upon us to learn the Arabic language. And the Arabic language is easy to learn for the one who wants to learn it. And trust me, somebody who speaks a few languages, I can tell you that the easiest language to learn, a language which its rules have consistency, is the Arabic language. And it is therefore, there is a unanimous agreement amongst the people of knowledge that a person who does not know the Arabic language cannot be called a person of knowledge, let alone be called a scholar. A person who does not know the Arabic language cannot be an alim. A person who does not know the Arabic language cannot be a mufassir. A person who does not know the Arabic language cannot be a faqih. Because the Arabic language is the means to understand the statements of Allah and Allah's Messenger. It is therefore that we say that the translation of the Quran are not the words of Allah, it's meanings. They are the meanings of what the Quran contains, not a replacement or a translation in that sense for the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So seeking knowledge starts with learning the Arabic language. And how many of us have made efforts to learn the Arabic language? And today with the technology that we have, there should be no excuse for anybody. Nobody can say that I do not have the means and the tools to learn the Arabic language. You see the people, when I was coming home yesterday in London, and people were returning from a football match, and it was raining. And I'm thinking to myself that these people have wasted their money, their energy, and their time, and they are devoted and committed to support this football team and watch this football match. We as Muslims, do we have the same commitment by committing ourselves with our time, with our energy, with our wealth, with our health? Where are we as Muslims? What excuse do we have? This is for batil. This is for them knowing that there is no fayda for them. They themselves will know that there is no benefit if they don't, whether they go and watch this football match or they don't watch this football match. But they are committed. So where are we as Muslims? So it is very important we learn the Arabic language. The first step of seeking knowledge is to learn the Arabic language. And what does a person start to study first? When people want to seek knowledge, you see them surfing and they are confused. What shall we start to study first? The first thing that a Muslim starts to study is the Tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As we have just come across this ayah in Surah Al-Imran of the greatness of the Tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The true and the correct way of seeking knowledge is to study about the Tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And along with that, to study everything that violates it. And that is shirk with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then a person studies the Sunnah of Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And everything that violates the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, which is known as bid'ah, heresies in the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So my brothers, make an effort to learn the Arabic language. Make an effort to seek knowledge. أقول قولي هذا استغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروا إنه هو الغفور. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد. As to what proceeds, al-Mu'mineen Salama radiyallahu anha narrates that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam every day, daily, after Salatul Fajr would make a dua. Every day, only after Salatul Fajr. After Salatul Fajr, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam would make a dua. And he would only say this dua after Salatul Fajr. She says that he would say, Allahumma inni as'aluka ilman nafi'a wa rizqan tayyiba wa amalan mutaqabbala. This hadith has been narrated by Imam Ibn Majah in his Sunan, and the hadith is sahih. Prophet ﷺ used to say, "O Allah, I ask you to grant me beneficial knowledge." First thing that the Prophet ﷺ would ask for is what? Beneficial knowledge, ilman nafi'a. The second thing that he would ask for is rizqan tayyiba, good sustenance, halal sustenance. And the third thing he would ask for is amalan mutaqabbala. Allah accept his deeds. Now let's look at this hadith and reflect upon the words, the dua of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The first thing that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked for was what? Beneficial knowledge. The people of knowledge, they say that if there was anything better than asking than beneficial knowledge, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would have asked for it. So he asked for knowledge. And what type of knowledge did he ask for? He just didn't ask for knowledge. He said nafiya, beneficial knowledge. Beneficial knowledge means that there is two types of knowledge. That which is beneficial and non-beneficial. Beneficial knowledge which is non-beneficial can be theoretical knowledge. That's why you find many of the Orientalists that they have knowledge. They have a lot of knowledge about the Quran and the Sunnah. You find many deviant scholars, they have knowledge. They have knowledge which is all theoretical, but it's not beneficial. Beneficial knowledge is that knowledge which you know theoretically and you implement and act upon that knowledge. The Prophet didn't ask for knowledge, he asked, look at the words of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, ilman nafi'. Then what did the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam say? He said, rizqan tayyib. To look for your rizq, your sustenance. What does everybody do every day in the morning? At 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, everybody goes to work. If you see the people on the streets, at the bus stops, in their cars, and they're walking, where are they all going? They're going to work. They're going to look for their rizq. They're going to earn their money. They're going to do their jobs. What did the Prophet say? He said that the rizq that he asked for good. Tayyib, meaning which is halal. But halal rizq, for you to know whether to work in this factory or whether to work in this company or whether to do this job or that job, what does it require? Whether this job is halal and haram for you, what does this require? This requires knowledge. What is knowledge? So see, the first part of the dua is connected, that you can only obtain rizqan tayyiba if you have ilman nafiya. Without ilman nafiya, there cannot be no rizqan tayyib. Then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he mentioned the last part of the dua. He said, wa amalan mutaqabbala. Your deeds to be accepted. How do you know that your deeds are accepted? Your deeds can only be accepted if they are based upon the knowledge of the Kitab and the Sunnah. Somebody says, I'm going to pray tahajjud for the whole night without wudu. You're going to say to him, Ya akhi, it was a waste of time. You had no wudu. How can you pray salah without wudu? This is knowledge. That the Prophet ﷺ said a condition for your salah to be accepted should be in the state of wudu. Without wudu, there is no salah. This requires, for your action can only be mutaqabbala, accepted. Going back to the first part of that dua, which says ilman nafiya, if there is beneficial knowledge. Now when we look at the people today, we can categorize all of us. Some people, Allah has blessed them that they wake up in the morning and all they do is seek knowledge. They are the tullabul ilm who are in the path of Allah, who have left their homes, their families, their comfort zones, traveled to different parts of the world to go and seek knowledge. They are the best of all people. Then you have the second category, which is rizqan tayyiba, which is most of us. When we wake up in the morning, what we are doing, we are going, everybody's working, going and running their businesses. And then you have the last and the third category of people that Allah has blessed them with wealth and health, and all they are doing is that they are making ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But there are certain people who Allah has blessed to be part of all three categories. And that's what we should ask for. Beneficial knowledge, as well as good rizq and sustenance, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts our actions. So ask yourself, which category do you follow in? Are you in the one that only does and looks for his rizq, or seeks no knowledge? does not do any good actions, other than that which is obligatory upon us, where are we as Muslims? The Prophet ﷺ used to make this dua every day after Salatul Fajr. Make this dua every day after Salatul Fajr. Because the first thing that you must be dependent upon when you want to seek knowledge is dua. Not how bright and intelligent you are, or not how strong your memory is. No, the dua of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The dua, seeking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for beneficial knowledge. And the last point today which I want to mention is, who do we take knowledge from? This is a big question. Who do we take knowledge from? Me, if I fall sick, yes, if I fall sick, if I become ill, I'm going to go to a garage and I'm going to go to a mechanic and I'm going to tell him that I'm sick. Can you give me some medicine? What do you guys will think? Or I've got a legal matter that I need solving, so I'm going to go to the bakery and I'm going to go and ask the baker, do you think I'll get convicted for this? Or do you think that the government's going to come after me? Or what legal advice do you give me? What will happen? Or if I decide that I want to get my car repaired, I'm going to go to a dentist. Say, can you repair my car? I think the brakes are failing. All of you will call me a crazy man. Yeah, if you go to a doctor, first thing you will ask, is he a good doctor? Is he qualified? So what happens when it comes to the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Do we go to the experts? When you want to know something about the deen, where do we go? We go to the greatest scholar who has no degree, no qualifications. You can't even see him, and he's not even human. Who is this person or thing that I'm talking about? Google. And ask you if you want to know something which is halal or haram, you go onto the internet, you type in and Google, and you'll get all 10 different opinions. And you say, you know what, I'll take this opinion. All the opinions will come. So knowledge is taken from the experts. Just like when you are sick, you go to a doctor. When you need legal advice, you go to a lawyer. When you need your car repaired, you go to a mechanic. When you need knowledge, you go to the scholars. You don't go to these YouTubers and these guys who come on Instagram who don't know the Arabic language, who have not studied the deen, and you have these inspirational speakers and you start listening to them and you start taking your religion from them. Look what the people of knowledge, they said. Imam Muhammad ibn Sirin, he said, إن هذا العلم دين فانظروا أمن تأخذون دينكم. That this knowledge is deen. Look from whom you are taking your knowledge from. And Imam Abdullah ibn Mubarak, he said, Al-Isnadu min ad-din. وَلَوْلَا الْإِسْنَادُ لَقَالَ مَنْ شَاءَ مَا شَاءَ. That the chain of transmission is the deen. If there was no chain of transmission, anybody would have said what he wanted to say. Both of these narrations have been reported in the Muqaddimah of Imam Muslim in Sahih. But what do we learn from this? The first thing we learn from this is that divine knowledge, true knowledge, came from Jibreel to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, from Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam to the Sahaba, and from the Sahaba to their students, the Tabi'un, and from the Tabi'un to their students, and then from generation to generation to generation till 2023. Now we are in. There's a chain of transmission. If this person that you are listening to is not part of this chain, did not take his knowledge and learn his knowledge from these sources, no, sorry to say that he's unqualified or a fake. That's the first thing. The second thing is that the most precious thing that you have is your deen. Don't give it away in the hands of somebody who you don't know. listening to anybody. The most precious thing is because your deen will determine whether you are victorious and successful or whether you will be destroyed and harmed. This is why it's very important to know with regards to this. So that's why we say that knowledge is to be taken from the scholars, the experts. And the scholars are of two types: the guided scholars and the misguided scholars. So make sure that you take your knowledge from those scholars who are guided. And who are the guided scholars? The guided scholars are those who call to the Kitab and the Sunnah. Upon their tongues you hear them, they say, قال الله and قال Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Not every time they speak and they say, you know what? There's a difference of opinion on this issue. On Friday, if it's Eid on Friday, yeah, there's a difference of opinion whether you should pray Jummah or not pray Jummah. But the hadith is clear that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the one who wants to pray, that he pray, and the one who doesn't want to pray, then he doesn't have to pray. So you find this, every single issue they mention is about difference of opinion or majority. Majority of the people say this. This deen is not based upon majority and minority. The deen is based upon قال Allah and قال Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Or knowledge is taken from the students of knowledge. Who are the students of knowledge? The Tullab al-Ilm. The Tullab al-Ilm are those who have studied with the scholars and have been endorsed by them, meaning that they have a tazkiyah. And there's three important issues with regards to a tazkiyah. You find somebody say, you know, so-and-so, he has a tazkiyah from this scholar. You know, so-and-so, he studied with bin Baz. So-and-so, he studied with Ibn Utaymi. But the people of knowledge, they mentioned that in regards to the validity of the tazkiyah, three conditions must be met. Otherwise, that tazkiyah is void, just like a passport that has a 10-year limit on it, and after that it expires. The tazkiyah also has something which is known as an expiry date. And what is that? First is that this tazkiyah that he has, he truly must have studied with the scholars. Secondly, the da'wah that he calls to, the student of knowledge, is identical to the da'wah of the scholars. And thirdly, that the manhaj that he is currently upon is the same manhaj upon the manhaj of the scholars who gave him that tazkiyah. So it's not just enough to flash a tazkiyah. It's not just sufficient to say that he studied with so and so. Because there are people who were guided and then they became misguided. I know personally of a student of knowledge who studied in Medina University, a reward from America, graduated from Kulliyat al-Sharia, and after he graduated, he became a Jew. He left the deen of Allah and he has a degree, a shahada with a top grade from Medina University. What would you say to this shahada? So a tazkiyah from a scholar, its validity is that the person is upon the same da'wah, upon the same manhaj of that scholar. Otherwise, the validity of that tazkiyah is gone, has no real value. And also this person, it doesn't matter whether he studied with 100 scholars, like I gave you the example of this certain individual. He was a white revert who left Judaism, became Muslim, graduated from the faculty of Sharia, and then he became a Jew again. He left the deen, he's back in America, and he's a Jew. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us. So the khulasa of today's khutbah, my brothers, is wake up. 24 hours you have. How much time are you going to go to the deen of Allah? These same people that we strive and we love, including our families at the top, at the top of the list, are going to be the first that bury us and abandon us when we die. The only thing that is going to come with us is our deeds. And our deeds will only be accepted if they are based upon knowledge. So my brothers, alhamdulillah, here in this masjid and in other places, you have the halaqat of ilm. You have people who have knowledge, who can give you that knowledge and you can learn that knowledge. So make time in your 24 hours for the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alamin.